everybody, I'm going to show you today how to draw on your eyebrows. I've already done my left one here, so I thought I'd show you how to do my right. As I'm sure you already know, one of the biggest and most traumatic side effects of chemotherapy is losing your hair, which in turn means you're going to lose your eyebrows. I'm post-treatment at the moment. I'm 2 months out, so my eyebrows are actually filled in quite nicely, but throughout my treatment I had barely anything to work with, so I was really happy that I took the time when I was diagnosed to go and find out which products worked best for me, do my research, so when the time came I had everything that I needed and I was good to go. So I thought I'd share the products that worked for me with you guys, and please let me know if there's anything that you've come across that we haven't really touched on, because we want to be able to provide as much information to everybody as possible. So first things first, and these were an absolute godsend, was stencils. So the ones I purchased are the Anastasia Beverly Hills stencils. They're a little bit more expensive than some of the others, but the reason I purchased them was because they're flexy, right? So a lot of the ones that I came across were just straight like this. So when you need to apply them, you need to then move the stencil along with your brow, which can mean for, a bit of a disjointed line. So these ones bend with your forehead. They make it pretty simple to use. And when you don't have a brow to work with, it really was a godsend for me. So couldn't recommend them enough. I do believe there are some cheaper products out there, so definitely do your research, but as long as they've kind of got that flexi ability, yeah, they really work a lot better than just the straight plastic ones. The Anastasias also come in a variety of shapes and sizes, which is great because not everybody has the same brow type, and everybody obviously has their preference. I also interchanged between them. I have my everyday petite arch, and then sometimes when I was going out I would do something a little bit more fuller. So it's kind of cool to be able to play around with them, but it's also good that you've got the whole set if you need them. So stencils, definitely number one. Obviously then you need to get a good product. I played around with powders, pencils, but the one that I prefer and the one I like the most is Kaboom by Benefit. It's kind of like a gel, so it doesn't move, it doesn't smudge. I actually have to scrub it of an evening just to get it off my brow. I could go multiple days with, and still have a little bit more color and a little bit more coverage in my brow. So definitely could recommend this one. They do also do a mini version, which I think is about $25. You can get it from Sephora, which is really good. So you can kind of try it out for not as much money, and find out whether or not it's the right product for you. If you do go into the store at Sephora as well, they will color match you, which is great. Couldn't recommend it enough. The last thing you want to do is get home and have a really dark brow against a lighter complexion. So don't be too afraid to go lighter either, because you can apply more product and get them to go a little bit darker. So if I'm wearing a darker wig, for example, I'll apply more product to then whether I'm wearing a really light blonde wig. So the one that I got, if you have a similar complexion to me, is number 2. But as I said, go into the store, they'll color match you and they'll tell you the right one for you. The next thing you're going to need is a really good brush. I purchased the Anastasia brush, but I believe you can get them pretty similar from just Priceline. I think I've even seen them in the Woolies aisles, to be honest. So they don't need to be anything too flash, just so long as they have that angle and the brush on the end. This is really important because, particularly if you're using the gel, the product does tend to clump in different places. So this really smooths it out. Sorry, wrong end. This really smooths it out. So you're definitely going to need one of these. Alrighty, shall we get started? So you're not going to need a lot of product, as I mentioned before. It does go a long way. I've had this one since September last year, so that's a year, and I've still got heaps left. So it goes a long way. I use it every day, so it might cost you a little bit up front, but it's going to last you. I'm just going to do my petite arch to match what I've already done on my left side. So with the Anastasias, you also get, if you can see here, this line, right? Now that line's really important because if you don't have an eyebrow to work with, you're not really going to know where to start it. So you can literally apply that line and put it to the left side of your nose so it lines up with the bridge, and then you know exactly where to start your brow. So I'm just going to do it in the mirror here. Once you're happy with where it's sitting, then you just place it across your forehead like so. If you have a brow, obviously trace the brow. If you have little patches, try to make the patches go into the center of the stencil. Or if you don't have a brow at all, put your eyebrow wherever you want to. So then all you need to do is simply color it in. So you will still need to do a bit of freehand. The stencils will give you a really defined shape, but it doesn't look very natural. So I'd also do some freehand after I've finished. The Anastasias also have a line in the center here, which you can cut out, but it does make them not as stable as they are. So I've always kept it in, and then I've just filled in that line afterwards. So once you've taken off the stencil, you just fill in the gaps. Now you grab the end of this brush, and then I'm just going to brush it like so. This kind of gives the illusion, when you don't have any hairs, that there are hairs there, because it puts little lines in the product, so it's really good. Makes it look really natural. Okay, 2 eyebrows, much better. Okay, so the final thing that I do is I use a highlighter. You don't need to, I just like to. I have this eyebrow kit from Nutrimetics, which was one of the first ones that I purchased. It's really good. It's got, you know, all the different color powders that you need. It's got stencils. It's got its own little brush. So this is really handy from Nutrimetics. But I just preferred the gel because it doesn't move as much as the powders did. But I do really love the highlighter. So I just get another brush. This is just a MAC brush. Doesn't need to be anything too fancy, just so long as it's thin. Get a little bit of the product, and then I just place it underneath that brow line. Like so. I think I've done this one a little bit darker than that one, but I'll go and fix it up, don't worry. So yeah, that's the products that I've used, and I guess if you haven't seen an eyebrow tutorial before, that's how you apply them. You know, going through chemotherapy was traumatic in itself, and then one of the things that really made me feel better was getting up every morning and doing my eyebrows. It was just something small, but it was something that, you know, made me feel good about myself. So, you know, take those little moments and, you know, enjoy them.